Happy evening, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, and all motorsports fans alike. We are back here at Daytona International Speedway for another exciting day of racing here for the Speed Racing Series in this Daytona Speed Weeks. We concluded pole qualifying the other day, which was won by the guy you see in that number 13 car on the front row, Zachary Bilson, in that Sherwin-Williams Toyota Camry for pole position racing. But we still have other decisions to be made here. Other starting positions for next week's 100-lap races still up for grabs. And we still have some go-or-go-home drivers in the field whose fates are still undecided. The top 3 go-or-go-home drivers for each duel will race their way in. And unfortunately, we will have some guys going home feeling disappointed and wonder what they could have done differently to make the show. 23 cars are set to take the green flag for this first duel. And I'm sure they don't want to waste any more time sitting on pit road. So we'll get them on their way by firing up the engines here for duel number 1 at Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
Drivers pushing the buttons inside their cars to get those engines started. The pace car leads them off pit road and will be going green flag racing momentarily. In the meantime, let's see who your starting grid is for this first duel. Crawling their way through the 4th turn and onto the front stretch. The green flag will be waved real soon. For these 5 go-or-go-home drivers at the back of the pack, Fisher, Ormond, King, Grigsby, and Smith. 2 of those drivers will be heading home after this race. But for everybody else, not only will they be racing for a higher starting spot in the 250-miler coming up, a cash payout will be handed to each duel winner, so that'll be something cool to shoot for. But here we go. Bilson and Pericles bring the field of 23 across the line. Let's get going for duel number 1 at Daytona. Coming to lead the first lap, it'll be Vince Freeze in the 21. As you saw, he went 3 wide underneath Bilson and Pericles to steal the lead. And that's where he is right now in that DeWalt car. Noah Hart right behind him with Luke Martin, the 2 teammates who started nose to tail in front of each other in this duel. Ryan Griffin in the 71, he's looking to contend. Here goes Martin underneath Hart for the 2nd spot. Trying to mount a charge on Vince Freeze. 3 wide back there between Charles Sanford, Major Robinson, and Lane Sanders. Joseph Sprigley is also into the mix. Underneath that 84. Brandon Mayhew's fighting up here in that 11 car. 2nd straight lap led for Vince Freeze. He only has 1 SRS start to his name. That came in the finale at Atlanta where he finished 8th, which was a real strong showing for Freeze. And now Rambler Racing, they took notice of him and brought him aboard the ride that TJ Hanley brought so much success last season. And he's already doing quite superbly, leading Luke Martin and Brandon Mayhew getting in the mix. And look at them all, tight 3 wide racing in this pack. Pericles, Griffin, Dylan Young. How about Alexander Rowe in the 14? One of the go-or-go-home drivers who's already qualified his way into the race. This is his home track, by the way, at Daytona Beach. Growing up around the area. And he's looking to go real fast and get as high of a starting position as he can for the race coming up here. But Vince Friese is still in the lead. Brandon Mayhew and everybody else trying to run him down. Obviously tonight we have a race within a race going on here. We have the main race for the lead, but for 5 of the GOGH homers, we'll have to check up on where they are from time to time because it is a make or break night for each of these guys. But right now, Brian Grigsby in the 75. He's the top runner amongst these drivers, followed by Lee Smith. But then tagging off this pack flies the 57, Grantley King. There's Nathan Orman in the 17, but way back here is Memphis Fisher, and that might be the driver that I'm most concerned about. Fisher, he's only clocking in at 185 going into the turns. Orman, he's not that much better at 188, 187, so Fisher really getting the short end of the stick with trying to fight his way into this race, his first ever SRS attempt. But for the lead, Vince Friese has lost the lead. It's now Nick Pericles showing the way. Bilson has recovered to get into the second spot. Brandon Mayhew, Joseph Strigley, Charles Samper. Here's Friese dropping back to 6th. And here comes Bilson wanting to take the lead back over the 31. The field's starting to get a little bit more spread out as these laps go on. Bilson started this race P1, and he has now recovered to take back that position, and he leads again. Nick Pericles making a challenge on the lead once again on Bilson. Pericles, the Floridian, trying to make a mark in his home state race, just like Alexander Rowe is. But Pericles gets to lead a lap again with help from the 16 of Sanford in that McDonald's Chevy. Like I mentioned in qualifying, Stanford still with Joseph Strigley Racing as he's going to get help from his old boss, or his current boss, I should say. I'm getting mixed up here. But Strigley helping Sanford. They are both driving Chevys. As the deal to keep Sanford on the team was to have the JSR crew switch to Chevys, but Strigley's going to take matters into his own hands, being helped by the 18 and the 54, the 2 Martin teammates. As Strigley in the 06, the part-timer. He is not scheduled to race full-time yet this season. He's going to get kicked up by Noah Hart by the time they come to the line. And it's an intense 3-wide battle all throughout this top pack as Hart takes the lead. I have a feeling this is a pattern we're going to be seeing most of the night. Certain teams coming and going, sharing their time at the front of the field each. Now Luke Martin, your defending champion, gets to take the lead aboard his M&M's Ford. And now Vince Friese, he's looking to take the lead back once again for himself. Oh, I think Noah Hart's in the wall. Hart in the 18, scraping his right side of that Ford against the wall. He's going to bottleneck Joseph Strigley behind him as he's greatly going to lose touch with his teammate Luke Martin. Well, it doesn't look like the right side of that 18 is really scraped up. Hart can still go fast, but that was an extremely close call for the Georgia driver, as he's going to try his best to tuck in behind the 87 of Lane Sanders, who won it here at Daytona last season, going for a repeat. But Noah Hart got a little bit too high, so hopefully he'll learn to never make that mistake again. But we still have about 30 laps to go for him to be mistake-free. Giving you all an update on the GOGH homers once again. Here's Lee Smith in the 04. He's about 8.5 seconds off of the lead pack. He's got the Starcom teammates of DJ Curtis and Nick Breeding ahead of him, but they're way ahead. So Smith has fallen back. Brian Grigsby has dropped back. Here's Grantley King and Nathan Orman working in a little tandem, but Orman's going to make the pass as they go into 3. And even further behind him is the 62 of Fisher. Like I said, that 62, he better hope for a miracle to appear out of nowhere, whether it be from a yellow or any of the other GOGH homers having a problem. But Fisher just running by his lonesome, only going 184 on the straightaway. That 62, he's really in desperation mode, and I don't know about his chances tonight. We come back to a familiar sight. Zachary Bilson still leading the field in his number 13 machine for PPR. But while he's out front, let's shine a little bit of a spotlight on some drivers we haven't talked about that much tonight. Here's Aiden Smith running really well in that 68. He's the only one of the Nova Sport cars in this duel. He'll have his teammates of Zachary Fitzwater and Shade Eves in the second one. Brandon Mayhew doing really good. The rookie, he is locked into the race. Same thing with Anthony McLaurin, the number 7 Dodge for Monster Motorsport. He's in a locked-in ride. He's got his teammate Dylan Young in the race, and Diego Yepes will be in the second duel. Ryan Griffin in the 71 in a new ride. Major Robinson in the 84. Alexander Rowe in the 14, doing a great job hanging in this lead draft. And this ARC Racing Dodge really outperforming his equipment level, so Rowe definitely should get an extra pat on the back for his job that he's doing. Dylan Young in the 07, and riding back here is Lane Sanders, just playing it patient. He knows he has a fast enough car to keep with the lead draft, so he's just taking it easy for now. Going back outside the top 10, Yoshiko Sakamoto, she's lost touch with the lead pack. Running in 16th, and she has a high likelihood of being run down by DJ Curtis and Nick Breeding. Back in 17th and 18th. How about the go home drivers at the back of the field? Here's Smith and Grigsby pairing up together. And you also got Ormond and King back here. But the best thing for them to do would be to draft together nose to tail, not side by side, so that's what both parties are guilty of doing. And of course, Memphis Fisher way back here, 37 seconds behind the lead pack. Here comes the field down to the line once again, and we are officially halfway through Duel 1. Bilson still leads over Vince Freeze, Brandon Mayhew, Major Robinson, and there's Joseph Srigley. And another pass for the lead. Vince Freeze is making an attempt, but they also have the 62 of Memphis Fisher up in the distance. So this pack is really going to have to watch out and make their moves carefully around this 62. Fisher in the single car effort for Metallic Motorsports. Trying hard and so desperately to race his way into the big show. But that pack has caught him like a sailfish. And where will everybody go? Oh, the 62 is going up high. Now the 62 is going down low. 3 wide for the lead. Srigley, Mayhew, and Freeze. With the 62 acting like a moving chicane for these drivers to go around. And Strigley's going to get the best advantage. So the lead goes the 06. Aiden Smith is pushing him. Alexander Rowe is pushing Smith. Dylan Young is also on the inside. And Noah Hart. Again, the job that Rowe is doing with the equipment that he's signed to, it just gets it more impressive to see lap after lap. But now he's going to get shoved 3 wide by the 07 of Dylan Young, who had a lackluster season 1 and is looking for redemption on his part. It looks like they will get around that 62 with relatively no problems. As Luke Martin's going to be the last one to get around him, and as you see, Anthony McClure, he's lost touch with the lead pack. Here's Yoshiko Sakamoto. She's in a drafting trio with a 2 Starcom teammate. But everyone's by the 62, and your new leader is now Joseph Srigley. Drawing our attention back to the go home situation. Here's Brian Grigsby and Lee Smith running side by side, battling for 19th. And I don't know if that's really a wise choice that they're making, because Grantley King and Nathan Ormond, they're running nose to tail and are running much faster than that duo up ahead of them. Only going 185, and they're hitting 189 and 190, so that 75 and the 04, they got to figure out something. They got to decide who's going to lead and who's going to draft, because they've been running this way for a couple laps now, and this has allowed the 57 and the 17 to close in on those two. So they may approach him within a few laps from now, and it'll be a bigger battle than it already is. As we were paying attention to the drivers in the back of the field in their own pursuits, we also got a pursuit for the race win up here. Vince Fries and Zachary Bilson back and forth for the lead once again. And on the inside, 3 wide, here's your defending Daytona winner, Lane Sanders, showing his strength on a super speedway again in that 87 Domino's car. You can never deny the talent and abilities that 87 has. Looking to make it a repeat of Daytona wins. Bilson trades the leads with Fries up again. Sanders making an attempt for second, being helped by the 07 and the 14. Sanders running really strong, and I think even a better scenario for him would be if his teammate Major Robinson would get back up there with him, and the two can formulate a plan to draft to the front together. And as we're looking on Robinson, going into 3, the 57 and the 17 have caught Lee Smith and Brian Grigsby. So now with Memphis Fisher being a lap down, it'll be a 4-car fight to stay on the lead lap amongst these 4 guys. And one of these drivers will lose out on an opportunity to race in the Daytona 250. Right now it's Grantley King trying to find his way around the 17 of Orman with the lead pack coming. They better hurry. Better start playing that Jaws music, because Bilson and the rest of the leaders, they are storming down onto these 4 go-or-go-home cars. And they've got nowhere to hide. Smith, Orman, Grigsby, and King. How's everybody going to negotiate their way around these cars? Bilson following the 57. Lane Sanders peeking down low. He's going to try and trap him up on the outside. Sanders pushing the 57 through. Here comes Joseph Strigley and Nick Pericles to give him some assistance. And this is going to draw everybody together. As Sanders gets to lead a lap at Daytona, we're quite used to seeing that. Bringing back memories from last season. Now Sanders peeks under Nathan Orman. All but Strigley in the 06. He's got enough room to peek inside Sanders. He's got room to shoot for the lead. But they got the 04 of Lee Smith to deal with. What's going to happen here? Sanders trapped behind the 04. Strigley in the middle. Pericles to the bottom in the 31. And everyone just driving all over the place. Just trapping these guys a lap down. And oh, hello, I think someone's coming to pit road. It's Robinson in the 84. Robinson to pit road all by himself. And that is not what these 4 guys needed right here. They've lost. They're going to lose time to that pack ahead of them. The Major Robinson, the rookie. The only one on pit road. I don't know if that's a good move or not. And it'll be fuel only for the 84. I think that's what the strategy is going to be for most of these guys. They can go a lot longer on tires, but everyone will have to pit at least once for fuel in this race, and Robinson just did so. DJ Curtis and Nick Breeding getting around Memphis Fisher right here. They've caught up to Anthony McClure in the 7. But let's get up to the lead pack here. More drivers to pit road. Sanders, Hart, Martin, King, Rowe. Here comes Vince Fries aggressively getting onto pit road, along with the 71 of Ryan Griffin. But look for these drivers to make fuel-only stops too. Now here comes everybody else onto pit road. Well, mostly everyone else is. Dylan Young is staying out in the 07. He's going to stretch at the farthest out of everybody. But Strigley, Pericles, Sanford, Orman, Bilson, Lee Smith, Grigsby, Mayhew, and Aiden Smith, they make their pit stops on lap 35. Dylan Young finally heads for pit road in the 07 Dodge. The final driver to make a pit stop here tonight. But it's going to be interesting to see how well his strategy is going to work. Here's Anthony McClure, Yoshiko Sakamoto, Breeding, Curtis. I don't think they're going to be in contention for this race win. Young's already away. A quick splash and go stop. Here's Joseph Strigley coming out of pit road. Lane Sanders, he had a good stop. We saw him leave pit road first in his group. Here's Sanford, Pericles, Hart, and Robinson. Looks like Robinson's early stop strategy might pay him off after all. He might be in the running for a top 5 finish here. Lee Smith, Alexander Rowe, all by themselves. Here's a tiny little pack with Freeze, Mayhew, Grigsby, Griffin, Martin, King, and Aiden Smith. But let's get back to the 07 of Dylan Young. There he is. He won't have enough to stay ahead of Sanders or this pack of cars. He might fall into the clutches of pack 2. Maybe he might tag along with Lee Smith or Alexander Rowe to possibly stay ahead. But I don't think Dylan Young's going to be able to have the winning strategy tonight. It looks like Sanders could very well be your leader. Oh, no, it's not. My mistake. That's Joseph Strigley. Strigley with the best pit stop out of everybody. He's going to merge ahead and try and escape these cars as fast as he can, but with him running by himself, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. Pericles, Robinson, and Sanders, the 87 and the 84 are teammates. Remember that. Noah Hart's in contention. Charles Sanford, and how about this? Nathan Ormond. He had a great pit stop in that 17, and he's hung on to the lead draft of race cars. That's great news for the Californian of Ormond. How about his competition? Lee Smith, looks like he's good. He's tagging onto the draft of Dylan Young and Vince Freeze. Brian Grigsby's looking good in the 75. Oh, but back behind this pack is Grantley King, and that spells trouble for the driver out of Barbados, Grantley King. He's got no help, no friends. He's just watching everybody drive away ahead of him, outside his windshield. And this might spell the doom for that 57 Chevy. He's 22nd on the track. Memphis Fisher, his fate isn't any better. He's 23rd last. And that could be bad news for Grantley King. He might not make it. But we only got a handful of laps to go. Pericles to the lead with 2 laps to go. Under threat from Major Robinson. Noah Hart and Lane Sanders being pushed 3 wide by Sanford. Sanford trying to get the golden arches to victory lane in this first duel. Lap and a half to go, but it's the 84 to the inside of the 31. "40 laps definitely goes by fast here at Daytona. Out of turn 4, what can the rookie driver do? He's got 5 hungry drivers who are also looking to get this win for themselves. White flag is waving from Daytona. Can Robinson do it? Sanford is in his mirror. Strigley down the inside for second. And we can't forget about the go or go home battle too. I think Nathan Ormond might be all right. Brian Grigsby should be okay. And Lee Smith. I'm positive it'll be these 3 drivers that you'll get to see on the starting grid for the 250. But we have a race for the win on our hands. Strigley tries to go high. Sanford's going to use the chance to go down low the 06. And I think that might have been the fatal mistake for those 2. Robinson should be all smiles inside that helmet. Here he comes to the stripe. Your Duel 1 winner is going to be car 84, Major Robinson. A job well done by the Alabama rookie. With Lane Sanders, his teammate, finishing 6th, and I'm sure he's happy to see that sight. This battle back here, Vince Freeze. He finishes 7th off the lead pack. But with this win, Robinson is guaranteed to start from the 3rd position in our opening round here at Daytona. Of course, everyone in this race is going to get an inside row starting position, of course. We'll go back to Nathan Ormond. Congratulations, you're in the Daytona 250. Same thing with the 75 of the Tennessee and Brian Grigsby, and the 04 of Lee Smith and the Eclipse Group. They'll get to make their team debut also. And unfortunately for Grantley King and Memphis Fisher, their Daytona dreams are over. They will no longer be a part of this opening weekend. They'll have to pack up their things and look forward to qualifying for round 2 out at Phoenix. But in the end, Major Robinson, he is the happy winner of duel number 1. He'll pick up that cash bonus for getting this win. Thankfully, this duel was relatively clean. We didn't have any issues with anyone on the track. No tires going down, no crashes. It was all clean and smooth, this duel was. But now that this race is over and done with, and Major Robinson is celebrating with his team, we can now divert our attention onto Duel 2, where Lucas Catano is going to be the pole sitter for that race. So with no more delay, let's get you on to Duel 2 for the starting lineup and the green flag. All right, everybody, we've got the field of 22 drivers out here for this second duel. We've got brand new players that have come up to battle here tonight, and also brand new Go home contenders that also have a lot to lose as well. Shantley Daniel, Saber Fox, Justin Henley, and Roberto Crown Jr., who will be on the losing end of that pursuit as well. But the pace car is off onto pit road. Your front row, Lucas Catano and Austin Montgomery, they now bring the field across to the line, and Duel 2 is underway. Just like the first duel, we have somebody that steals the lead away from the pole sitter on lap number 1. Zachary DeLello will lead the way in his number 15 Dr. Pepper machine for pole position racing. Keep in mind his teammate Zachary Bilson, he is locked into the Daytona 250 pole. He will not lose that. But it'll be a matter of what happens to Catano in this duel and if he can survive and bring home his number 20 automobile in one piece. But DeLello being chased by a pair of Fords in the form of Scott Roush and Kyle Collins. Scott Roush for Rambler Racing, Kyle Collins for Martin Motorsports. Collins was in the Go or Go Home camp, but he made his way into the 250 in with his qualifying speed. Here's a whole cluster of cars battling for fourth, being led by James Ellison and Austin Montgomery side by side. Harrison Riley looking to make something happen in that 12 car and get up to his teammate of DeLello. Diego Yepes, who was the final Go Home driver to time his way into the main race. He's trying to fight for a top 5 position, being side by side with the 24 of TJ Smith, but he's in the middle of a S3 sandwich as Ryan Dagby goes down to the inside. Dagby and TJ Smith being the two slices of bread to sandwich Diego Yepes in between them. Dagby's going to get away in the Dollar General machine, following Austin Montgomery and Harrison Riley. Kyle Collins making a challenge onto Roush for second. But all that is doing is letting that 15 of DeLello get away from everybody. And he is the Pied Piper of Daytona here in the early going. Going back a few cars into this group, you got the 70 machine of Justin Henley, the Minnesota native, right now running 12th, just ahead of Jesse Turner on the track. But right now he's the highest running, non-locked in Go or Go Home driver that can race his way into the 250 in a few days' time. Go back a little bit, you got the 23, Roberto Crown Jr., Saber Fox in the 34, Shantley Daniel in the 10. They got to find a way to overtake that 70 in a little bit. And lagging at the back here, here's Gatlin Downey. He's already into the main race, but of course, with the equipment of the Harman Benning Peterson team, you know, they just got to make do with what they can with what little they have, and they're just out here logging laps. They're not here to ruffle anyone's feathers. They're just out here to get more track time and warm up the car ahead of the big show. But Henley is ahead of all the open cars, right now running 12th. So nice job to Henley for being up here so far. Back up here to the lead, Zachary DeLello has held off every challenge behind him thus far. Now he's got the S3 teammates of TJ Smith and Austin Montgomery trying to overtake that car. Smith down to the inside in the Federated Auto Parts Chevy. The Talladega winner from Season 1. That was the last Super Speedway race this series ran, and TJ Smith was the victor. And at the end of lap 8, DeLello will officially lose his lead. TJ Smith getting help from Montgomery in the 35. Kyle Collins in the 19, putting him 3 wide, but Smith is your new leader here at Daytona. Ryan Dagby in the 03. Also on the inside, here's RJ Bishop in the 38. His new ride over at Rambler Racing. Zachary Fitzwater in the 59. DeLello's way up on the outside now. He'll probably be around 9th or 10th by the time this lap is done. As here goes Ryan Dagby on the inside, looking to get up with his teammate. And hope to put an exclamation point for S3 Motorsports in this second dual event. 1/4 of the way through this race. The battle for the lead still ongoing at the front of the field. So here's some cars that have fallen behind the lead group of cars. James Ellison in the 3. Justin Henley in the 70. They've fallen off the lead pack, so they have to catch up to those drivers soon. Same thing with the 2 Lake Effect teammates of Glenn Nixon and Jesse Turner. They have to formulate a plan to catch up with the lead draft soon. Cam Cole in the 78, running all by himself. But he timed his way into the main race, so he has nothing to worry about. And here's the trio of Go homers battling for the final transfer spot. Once again, the lowest finishing non-locked-in Go home contender will not race in the 250. Shantley Daniel and Memphis Fisher, they were the 2 victims of the first duel. So Henley, Daniel, Roberto Crown Jr., and Saber Fox, they all hope to not suffer the same fate. While the trio running at the back of the field has now become a quartet, as Cam Cole in the 78 has been tracked down by the 23, 34, and the 10. So it'll be Cole's turn to guide the way for these 4 cars to not lose more time to the leaders. Again, like I said, Cam Cole's the only locked-in driver. Oh no, Shantley Daniel in the 10. He's got a problem through turn 2. Oh no, this is not what Shantley Daniel needed at all. I believe he's got a flat tire aboard that number 10 Dodge. His motor seems to be running okay. He's not really losing as much speed, but dang, what a punch in the gut for Shantley Daniel, the South Carolina driver. And his chances of making the Daytona 250 are in major jeopardy as Gatlin Downey goes by. But he's going to nurse that 10 car back to pit road as much as he can. And for the other non-locked-in go-home drivers in the field, that might have been a saving grace for them, but definitely not for Daniel in the 10. He was running real good. They'll have to hope on a miracle now in order to still have a shot at this. Well, ever since TJ Smith took the lead 7 laps ago, he hasn't given it up since. It was Zachary DeLello in the 15. He led the opening portion of the race before he gave up the lead to Smith. Of course, Smith getting Chevrolet their first ever win in the SRS back at Talladega for round 11 last season. So why not replicate that same magic here at Daytona for round number 1? I know S3 Motorsports would like to do that. They've got 2 additional cars on their team, with the 35 of Montgomery and the 06 of Strigley. Strigley ran by himself in the first duel, but Smith, Dagby, and Montgomery right now first, third, and fourth. Oh, but it looks like DeLello's had enough. Here he goes, back to the low side of the 24. And the 03 of Dagby will help him. DeLello says, good job, Smith. You've had your turn at the lead, but now I want to get back to leading this thing. But Ryan Dagby might have other ideas. Oh, but he just gets chopped off by the 15 at the last second. He's got his teammate right there, Montgomery, coming in to help, being pushed by Kyle Collins. Zachary Fitzwater's also up here. And you got these group of drivers just laying back right now with RJ Bishop, Harrison Riley, Lucas Catano, the pole sitter, Shade Eves, Christian Vargas, and Diego Yepes in the pack of 13 total cars. Calmly running behind the lead group of 13 cars is Ellison and Henley, still running nose to tail like they had been for several laps. They're about 8.5 seconds behind the lead 13. Behind those two, you got the 94 and the 43 running nose to tail. But it's like they're not really doing a good job of tandeming together, because here comes the 78, 23, and 34 to run down those two Fords for 16th. Yeah, I think the 94 and the 43, I know they know it's best that they run nose to tail, but they can't figure out who's going to lead and who's going to follow. And their indecisiveness is going to allow them to be run down. Yes, Cam Cole, Roberto Crown Jr., Saber Fox. They have caught the Lake Effect duo out of turn 4 as we finish the halfway mark of this race. So it will now be a 5-car fight for 16th on the track. The S3 Motorsports trio of Smith, Dagby, and Montgomery. They're all right behind that 15, looking to steal the lead back from him again. The 15 and the 24 have definitely been the 2 best cars this race. And there goes Smith. Smith wants to take the power back from DeLello in the race lead. But Dagby didn't have enough time to react, so Montgomery, he's going to go to the low side and help TJ out. And we'll need to keep our eyes glued to this lead pack, as there's the 10 and the 6 racing side by side. That's not really a good idea, as there's that lead pack lurking back there like a shark's fin swimming through the water towards you. They better watch out. Approaching lap 26 now. They have caught to the rear end of Downey and Daniel. So it'll be TJ Smith's turn to decide where he needs to go. He makes the first move. He's going to go to the outside. Is Montgomery going to help him up there? No, he's going to go down to the inside where the 10 and the 6 are. But Downey's going up to block TJ Smith. Oh boy, this is a situation we have here. The 10 and the 6 blocking both the inside and the outside lanes. Now Downey down to the inside. And for once, Downey can feel like the leader of the race. On a super speedway, it's probably the closest feeling he'll ever get to being a leader up here. But the 35 is going to put the 10-3 wide. Oh, the 12 of Harrison Riley. He might have scraped the wall. He may have drifted a little bit too high and nicked the wall, but so far he's okay. But Montgomery in the UPS Chevy, he takes control of the lead. Lucas Catano right behind him. And here's Diego Yepes having a good run in that 77 Dodge. Qualifying his way in on time for Monster Motorsports. His teammates of Anthony McClure and Dylan Young were in the first duel. As Catano, he started this race on pole. Now he's looking to claim the first position back away from Montgomery, with Shade Eves and RJ Bishop pushing him. And oh, back there, Roush, Scott Roush in the 50 car. He was scraping the wall big time in that Summit Ford Fusion. And look at how much speed and traction that he lost compared to this pack of cars. And he's got to crank it into high gear now if he wants to rejoin the leaders. You can't afford to fall back at a time like this. But Roush is still running okay, so as long as he can stay in line with the 6 and the 10, he may not lose this pack. But we'll just have to see what he does, given the circumstances he's in. Moving along, Kyle Collins, he's got the lead now, but Harrison Riley in the 12 wants it. Your winner from Road America of Round 8 last season. And the 4th place finisher in points, Harrison Riley. Riley and DeLello had a fairly successful season for the team last season. Riley finished 4th in points. DeLello got a win at Chicagoland and finished 6th in the standings. But the second lead change in that single lap is happening. Here comes the 03 of Ryan Dagby. He'll show what strength he's got underneath that Impala. He chops off Montgomery. He leads lap 30. But Montgomery has a lot of momentum on the inside as well. He'll peek to the inside of the 03 with help from RJ Bishop and DeLello. And it'll be Montgomery's turn to fight for the lead once again. Here comes RJ Bishop to spoil the plans of Montgomery to be at the lead with his teammate of Dagby. Now it's Bishop carrying that good Sam Ford Fusion out to P1 with DeLello and Vargas pushing him, as you see. He will lead lap 31, but his time at the lead will be short-lived. DeLello back to the inside of the 38. And back there you see Scott Roush. He was able to hang on just barely to this pack. He's by Gatlin Downey. Now he'll make his way to the inside of Shantley Daniel before too long, and Roush may still have a chance to hang on with these leaders. He will pass Shantley Daniel right there. How about back here outside the top 10? Ellison and Henley, 17 seconds back in the back and forth duel that they've got. Mixon and Turner, 16th and 17th, with Saber Fox, Roberto Crown Jr., and Cam Cole behind those guys. But they are far ahead of Shantley Daniel, so for those open drivers that weren't secure before, I think they may be feeling secure now. Oh, here we go, people. We got a taker coming onto pit road. It's Kyle Collins in the 19 Coors Light Ford. He crossed the line 6th last lap. But just like the last duel where we saw Major Robinson go into pit road all by himself, and he came out as the winner. So I think Collins and his team, they may have taken note of that, and they might be copying Robinson's strategy to propel them into a winning position. And there you have it, a fuel-only pit stop for Kyle Collins. And with more pit stops on the horizon, we'll just have to see where he'll end up at the end of this cycle. More drivers signaling for pit road on lap 33. DeLello, Yepes, Montgomery, Eves, Riley, and Roush. Oh, the 12 and the 83 touch! He gets into the 83 again! But Eves keeps it pointed straight somehow. Oh no, but he's gonna ram the back end of the 77 of Yepes! Eves and Yepes with big-time contact on pit road. Oh my goodness, talk about a plot twist if I've ever seen one happen. Man, it all started when Eves got a bump from the 12 as they were going on to pit road. He initially saved it, but he basically had nowhere to go when Yepes had to make his move to his pit stall. In the 83 and 77 teams, their plans have dramatically changed. The 83 Novasport team removes the hood off of that race car. And Yepes' team trying their best to get that 77 fixed as fast as they can. And here comes the rest of the leaders onto pit road, as you see. But man, a major setback for Yepes and Eves. But Eves is going to pull away, thankfully. But both those drivers will be out of the contention for this dual win. So with the 77 and 83 no longer being key players in this race, we still have other drivers that are fighting for the win with just over 5 laps to go. Here's Kyle Collins, who ducked for pit road first. He gets out ahead of Roush and Fitzwater. How about the drivers ahead of him? There's Montgomery, there's Bishop, DeLello, Dagby, and Smith. And right there, the scoring has reset. TJ Smith and Ryan Dagby hold the top 2 positions. The S3 duo, 1 and 2, with DeLello in third, Bishop in fourth. Montgomery is fifth. That makes it 3 S3 Motorsports cars in the top 5. That leaves Bishop and DeLello, the 2 odd men out in this group. So we'll just have to see if the 15 and the 38 can maybe put away their manufacturer differences. Maybe those 2 can get a game plan together to get the best of the 3 teammates they're racing around. But Dagby takes control. 4 laps to go now at the line. And now they approach the wounded car of Shade Eves. Going into 1. Where's Dagby going to go? Up to the outside goes Dagby in the Dollar General machine. Zachary DeLello is going to follow him. And Eves is going to hold up the 24, 35, and 38. He's going to go up to block the 38 now. And RJ Bishop gets away from him the slowest, but he's going to try and tuck in line behind Montgomery and Smith. As the 03 and 15, they're doing their best to escape those other 3 cars. But with just 3 laps to go, time is running out. Dagby leads another lap. Back behind those guys, Collins cycles back to 6th. Christian Vargas in 7th. Zachary Fitzwater in 8th. Galen Downey right here. Here's Scott Roush. He lost touch with Fitzwater and Vargas, so he runs 9th. Lucas Catano in 10th. And here's Harrison Riley in 11th. Shanley Daniel, his hopes continue to go up in smoke lap by lap. He's got nobody to work with. He is still trapped behind the rest of the non-locked-in cars. There's Henley running in 13th. He looks to be in good shape to advance. Saber Fox in 15th. Also looks to be in good shape. Same thing with Roberto Crown Jr. He's the final guy in the lead lap. But we've got 2 laps to go now. Smith and Montgomery have caught up to DeLello and Dagby. RJ Bishop back there, he still has a fighting chance. But it's these 5 cars in for the contention for the second dual win. They do have the 23 of Crown Jr. just up ahead. They got to find their way around him as quick and efficiently as they can. No mistakes. And this is definitely not the point in the race to be making any mistakes now. Coming to the white flag, DeLello has the lead over Smith, Montgomery, Dagby, and Bishop. Any one of them can win it. But they have that purple 23 of Roberto Crown Jr. just ahead of them. DeLello just has enough room to squeak by. TJ Smith gets cost a little bit of time. Montgomery's able to escape. It's now up to him to run down DeLello. Oh, the yellow flag is out. Caution on the track. Oh, a wreck down in turn 1 involving Diego Yepes again. He's part of an incident. Oh, and he's taken Kyle Collins with him in the 19. We'll have to get a replay of that later. Oh, and Ryan Dagby. He's got an issue on the 03 car. He's got to have a flat tire or something on that machine. And just a wild last lap here at Daytona. And Zachary DeLello is home free. Across the line he goes. Zachary DeLello is your winner for duel number 2. What kind of last lap even was that? Wow, so many chaotic and crazy things happening on the last lap. But DeLello's able to hang on as Diego Yepes crawls his way through turns 3 and 4 with even more damage on that Dodge Charger. More drivers come across the line. Here's Justin Henley we see. He finishes 12th. He's good to race in the 250. Saber Fox is in the show. And Roberto Crown Jr., which they put a lap down. Congratulations, Roberto. You are also in the main race. And there goes the 15 and the 35 across the start-finish line again. I think these drivers are taking an extra cool-down lap around here just to even process everything that's happened. I sure need to. So we definitely have a lot to unpack on those replays of the last lap. So let's check them out. So all of this begins just as the 5 leaders get out of turn 4 to take the white flag as they approach Roberto Crown Jr. right there. But, oh, here we see Diego Yepes driving through the grass. What's he doing that for? Diego Yepes completely going through the grass in the tri-oval. That's strange. He gets back onto the racetrack, and here comes Collins and Fitzwater bearing right towards him. Oh, wow. The 19 just absolutely slams the rear end of the 77. I have never seen anything like that before. We'll definitely need to take a look at that from another perspective. So here we see Diego Yepes sitting on pit road. The crew is able to fix the car. They send him away, but he just heads right for the grass. I don't know why he's doing this. I'm guessing the steering's probably locked up on that 77. Who even knows at this point? But as Yepes rejoins the racing surface, we'll slow this down a bit. Here comes Fitzwater and Collins. Fitzwater gets into the wall. He slides down into Collins, who has to avoid the 59, and wham! A bunch of front-end damage onto that number 19 Coors Light car. And I'm afraid to say that has backup car written all over it. So that number 19 Martin Motorsports team, they've got some work to do. But just a very unfortunate and bizarre situation that I believe could have been avoided. So here's Yepes leaving his pit stall, but instead of staying on pit road, he just goes for the grass. Like, it had to have been a steering lockup problem on that 77 or something. But regardless, he still re-enters the racetrack in a very unsafe way as we look out from the rear view camera. And here comes Fitzwater and Collins trying to react. Ow! That was an exceptionally hard hit for Collins. Thankfully, he was able to climb out under his own power, and it wasn't as bad as what it could have been. But I'm willing to bet the SRS officials are going to look at that incident, and we'll just have to wait and see if any penalties arise from this. While that was going on in turn 1, we still had a battle for the win happening going down the backstretch. Ryan Dagby right there, he's running third. Everything looks to be fine going into turn 3. And right there, he just slows down all of a sudden. Good heads-up driving by Bishop, Smith, and Crown Jr. to get by Dagby. And it wasn't either the result of a flat tire. And with just 2 corners to go in the race, that's got to be an extra shot of pain to Dagby in that S3 bunch, as he loses a couple positions to Vargas and Fitzwater going by. But Dagby does make it over the line to finish 9th. Thankfully, it's not a life or death situation for that 03 team, but they do have a fast Chevy. They've shown it all week long, but I wouldn't count out that driver and team. They're still capable of doing good things when race day comes. Something else that we didn't get to see happen after the checkered flag, Saber Fox, who finished 14th, heads for pit road and calls it a night. But watch the 78 of Cam Cole. He slams on his brakes right there, and with no time to get out of the way, the 34 plows the rear end of the 78, and they have a collision. That's a bad break for both of those teams, especially the 34, since there's many delicate parts at the front end of that race car. So that's 2 more teams that'll have more work on their hands before race day. So anyway, people, here are your full race results from this second duel. I definitely didn't expect it to end in such crazy fashion. That whole last lap had so many confusing things happening all at the same time. But nevertheless, the 15 of Zachary DeLello, he's going to pay no mind to any of that, as he is your winner over Austin Montgomery, followed by Bishop, Smith, Vargas, Fitzwater, Catano, Riley, Dagby, and Roush is the top 10. James Ellison at 11th. Justin Henley, he races his way in. Then Cam Cole, he already qualified his way in. Saber Fox races into the show, followed by Jesse Turner, Glenn Mixon, Kyle Collins, and the final go-home driver to clinch a spot in the race, Roberto Crown Jr. So good job to that 23 team. Gatlin Downey, Shade Eves, Shantley Daniel, who will unfortunately be heading to the house, and Diego Yepes. But once again, that'll do it for our time here at Daytona. We appreciate you folks tuning in to tonight's events. And your starting lineup for the Daytona 250 will be coming up shortly. One last time, congratulations to our winners tonight, Major Robinson and Zachary DeLello. And we will see you all on race day.